Short film roundup.
But first, a quick disclaimer. On Short Film Roundup, we review short films with the utmost honesty, sometimes brutal honesty. This means we may say things about your blood, sweat, and tears labor of love short film that aren't necessarily flattering. We do this because we believe it's the best way for you, us, and the entire short film making community to learn and grow. So don't take it personally. We have all made the same mistakes on our filmmaking journey, so if it ever appears that we are laughing at you, just know that we are also laughing at ourselves. Now on with the show.
Okay, ready? And aim. Fire!
Oh, dang. Dang.
Did you hit it?
I think I did, yeah.
That's cool.
That's good. I'm glad we hit cameras with bullets.
That's fun. Hey, enough with the shenanigans. It's time for Short Film Roundup.
Short film
That's why we're here.
roundup.
Short Film Roundup. Short Film Roundup.
Are you ready for that, D?
Short Film Roundup. Stop.
I'm ready for it.
I could go on all day.
Welcome.
Don't get me started.
Welcome, everyone, to
Hi.
Short Film Roundup.
We just finished watching 3 user-submitted short films, and we're going to spend the next half hour to an hour tearing them to all kinds of pretty little pieces.
But we also watched them while live streaming.
Yeah, which was cool. Had a couple people join us this time. We're gradually growing. We doubled our audience.
Doubled.
live
Yeah,
stream.
that's true.
From 1 to 2.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
We're blowing up.
No, that's exponential growth. In 30 days, we'll have 1 billion.
You know what's cool about that, though, is Hurricane Shane, who was we're covering one of his films today, popped in the chat for a little bit
Yes.
to say hi.
Yeah.
Yep. So that is pretty neat to have someone there who made the film that we're watching at that moment.
Yeah.
It's a fun place to be. So every Tuesday at noon, come join us at our live stream.
Tuesday. Alrighty. So let's get started. Our first film for today is The Pink Concept. And is this the director?
I believe so.
Yes.
By
Yes, it
Dario Ortega. Or known in the live stream as...
Dario or
Let me see it.
Wow, that's pretty
I know how to pronounce names.
It's an interesting name.
Dario.
Dario Ortega.
Yeah.
That wasn't even hard. Because we mess up difficult names, might as well mess up the easy ones.
Link is in the description. Please watch it and come right back.
Come on back now.
I don't know, man.
All right, so we are here with The Pink Concept. Kenny,
Me?
please tell me what you thought of this 80s throwback.
Well, I totally dig the aesthetic. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah.
This is what we would refer to in our own lexicon as a 1-3 movie, right? Where very little is given to very little is given to the audience. Much is expected
Much
of
is
the
it?
audience.
You're right.
And once I put on that hat and said, okay, I'm going to go to work and figure out what story they're telling.
Yeah.
There was a story there. It's not necessarily a complete story. It's not necessarily tapping into any kind of emotion other than, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Right? So that being said, I always think a film could be better, could be stronger in doing that. But the concept itself was kind of cool. This idea of the character breaking through the fourth wall, like within the movie.
That was really interesting.
Is very interesting. It's like the character becomes aware that he's a character. And when he comes out at the end, and there's multiple versions of himself, what it felt like to me was that these are like the disregarded takes of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that someone had shot a movie and here's all the different takes they had done, and like each take had its own life and identity. And here's a place where they somehow escaped or live on.
Yeah, I like the idea of different takes being told that way, but I feel like it was meant to be a video recording that was being rewound and rewatched and rewound and rewatched. But
Yeah, that's what I thought.
the only reason why I thought that is because the takes to me seemed exactly similar. But what I didn't like is that, I kind of liked it. I liked the transition from take to take, where this guy does this creepy smile, and then
I thought that smile was so genuine, cheesy, like Lifetime original movie.
see, but then it does that,
Yeah.
and it goes straight back to this guy, and it's like, okay, well, something is happening.
And each time we see a little bit more of the film
The
production,
artifacts, yeah,
the boom mic, and the
right. So that's true, the boom mic and stuff. I forgot about that. So I was thinking that, well, maybe it's the tape being rewound and then started back again.
But you start to see
you
the
start to see
production.
more stuff. Yeah, that's
They
true.
only do like 2 loops, right?
They only, yeah. I
They
think
do
it's-
one
there's
regular
3 total,
and then
yeah.
this one, but instead of looping again, it continues onward into
Yeah.
like
Yeah, so there's
Which
the
I
boom.
appreciate, and it like we've had a few of these sort of Groundhog Day sort of movies,
Yeah.
time loop movies. This is probably the 3rd one we've covered now. So I mean, it's a trope that filmmakers are pulled to again and again.
Yeah, I love the trope.
I'm very much against it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have big issues with it.
Well, it's similar to like what you call Portal. What was your movie called? Your little
Paradox?
it's kind of like Paradox Leaps
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Similar idea. I hate short films that make you watch it 18 times.
Subject you to it.
Like
over
I
and over.
understood it was happening, and I totally got it, and they only did it twice.
Right.
You know, and I like that. I like that.
What did you think?
I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I feel like I needed to like watch it again. Because I didn't really grasp that it was. I didn't know how much was supposed to be like inferred or whatever, and the aesthetic's cool.
The aesthetic is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, but I just kind of ultimately felt like I didn't really connect to any story or anything like
Yeah.
that, and I didn't really connect with the aesthetic is really cool,
Yeah.
but it's not quite like my taste. So in that regard, I'm not like the aesthetic alone can't hold it up for me if I
Just
can't
funny as
connect to a
the
story.
expressionist,
I was gonna say,
experimental
yeah.
filmmaker, you'd almost expect you would dig this more than the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
It's certainly expressionist.
Yeah, I don't know.
To a degree.
I guess what it was is like this is like it's taking little tropes that's been done a lot and
This
not
looks
really
very
doing
much
anything.
like Poltergeist.
Yeah, I was gonna say Poltergeist, The Ring, and I believe Videodrome does that TV thing with the face imprinted on it.
Yeah. Well, and there's a music video that does that too. Famous one, I don't remember.
This looks very much like a music video from the 80s.
It does.
Yeah.
I like this kind of horror aesthetic here, where it's like, where he climbs out of the TV, and this whole like kind of, I don't know if it was a jump scare, where he runs at the camera. I don't know if it was meant to be a jump scare. It didn't really do anything for me. But maybe he was just running toward. You know what it is? I guess he's becoming more and more aware of the production around him.
Yeah. And he goes through the camera.
Right.
I don't know. You know how we've said a movie is not the sum of its parts,
Right.
right?
Wait.
A movie is not the sum of its parts.
It's greater than the sum of its parts?
No, I'm saying that 1 + 1 + 1 does not necessarily equal 3 when we're talking about movies.
Uh-huh.
And what I mean by that is here we have an example of a movie that I think the performances, the writing,
Oh,
the
I see.
design of the aesthetic,
Right.
and the effects are all better than the movie is.
Right. Right.
How about that?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And you can also have a movie with like
What do you mean by that though? Like, can you get in depth? Like,
I think
because that
it-
sounds very, strange.
It makes sense to me. Do you want to?
I think it all comes down to telling a story that connects empathically to an audience.
Mm-hmm.
And which is why you can have a movie that's like very basic, that just has okay performances, no special effects, but tells a story that somehow grabs you and talks to a piece of you, a piece of who you are, and that movie sticks with you. You walk away with it.
Yeah.
It becomes a part of you. And that can be an expressionist film, right? We watched that documentary, Samsara.
Yeah.
I carried that for weeks afterwards, right? And it had no overt storytelling per se. So you can do it in virtually any style of filmmaking. And what I'm saying is that this film didn't do that, right?
Yeah, it didn't have a connection.
And I think that's like the binding tape. That's the glue that pulls together the great performance, the great aesthetic, the clever writing. All of that just exists in a vacuum as just interesting if there's not a good, strong story or a character development of some kind to hold it all together.
It's interesting because what we're talking about here is like different subjective inferred kind of viewings, right? So like someone who could see an expressionist piece might be able to connect with it deeply, rather than someone else who sees the same expressionist piece and can't connect with it because all the threads don't make sense to them.
Sure.
And I think that's what we're getting at here is that.
But that can happen with a 4-0 movie too.
Maybe. I mean, so you're right where like. It gets a little too like metaphorical, so I don't want to get too much into it. But in this instance, there is a narrative being told because it's the same sequence being shown over and over, and it keeps getting degraded. So obviously something is happening. We're leading up to something, and then it's never really paid off. I mean, we see him come out of the TV, but it doesn't make any sense as to why any of this stuff happened. So narratively, I would totally agree with you, is that step after step after step, it didn't actually create anything. However, someone I think could watch the same film and infer a lot more stuff.
Maybe so. I think
maybe the creator himself.
Well, just to give an example, with this film, what turned out to be the main character is struck with a sense of horror.
Yeah.
So if someone were to accomplish what I just explained and do it right, the audience would have felt that sense of horror with them. We would have gone with them and felt this strange dis-ease to this world is not what it seems. But we weren't able to do that because we were not in that guy's shoes.
Right.
We never sat down with him. We were preoccupied with the other couple.
With the aesthetic.
The girl, well, if we're connecting to people, we're connecting to the guy who's been talking the whole time.
Yeah.
And this girl.
Yeah.
They have more development than the other guy does. So
Yeah.
I'm more interested in them touching hands and meeting.
You know what's funny about that is because I felt more connected to the dude sitting there.
Why?
Well,
I don't know.
I did a little bit too with some parts.
I think it was the way it was shot.
I think because after this loop starts over again.
Well, then you realize they're props.
Right.
That's true.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because like
Kind
aesthetic
of looks like you, Taylor. Maybe that's why.
aesthetically, this movie is quite involved.
Well,
Like,
and expertly executed.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks awesome.
yeah, it looks really insane, and I love that transition for some reason.
Yeah, I know. I thought that one was so weird
Yeah.
the last time. I'm like,
You,
whoa.
you know what I think it is actually is the cinematography here, because we're cutting to him, and then we want to cut back to the couple, knowing that he's down there, right? And then we don't. We instead pan, which doesn't take any visual effects work. That's just planning.
Yeah.
And like that was really cool that
That
you
is
create
cool.
that kind of unease, just cinematography.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I think why I didn't connect with this movie, or at least one reason why I didn't, was I wasn't following any kind of narrative with it. Like, I didn't know what was going on, really. And from a purely, like, expressionist, abstract point of view, I wasn't really seeing anything that hasn't been done before. Like, I wasn't seeing anything unique. It was all stuff I've seen in many other movies, so I wasn't really sure what to get out of it.
Yeah.
It's like Kung Fury is the aesthetic, and then the looping thing is Groundhog's Day, and then the exiting the TV is Poltergeist.
I mean, just saying all
Videodrome
this, you're saying that these didn't speak to you because they didn't have any greater context. Is that maybe why?
Maybe.
Because I can see there's thousands of time loop movies.
Yeah.
Groundhog Day certainly, I'm sure, wasn't the first to do it.
Sure.
But it's certainly the one that sticks in our brains because it has such a great context.
Yeah, great.
You know?
Yeah.
And Poltergeist, same thing. I mean, well, maybe not the same thing. But
That is
comes
what
out
it
to.
is. There is no context for this.
Right.
And so I don't really get what I'm supposed to.
Like why anything
Why
matters.
am I watching this,
Yeah.
and why? What am I supposed to be feeling?
Right, and
Am I supposed to? Is it supposed to be just clever,
I
or
think that
what?
matters.
You know?
Yeah. No.
I
Yeah.
think
Totally.
that matters a lot.
It totally does.
Because I see what happens to the guy, but I don't care.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I don't care that his world isn't what it seems. I don't feel his terror, and I'm not even left wondering what he just did.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm ready to move on.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we're missing a big
Context
piece of
and
the story
character
here.
development, I think, is
Yeah.
so important.
There is one thing that I wanted to. Hey, I think I have that book. There's something that I wanted
The
to.
three
point
performances
out
were
here.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, and this aesthetic is so good.
Yeah.
This last shot, this one right here,
Mm-hmm.
made absolutely no sense to me. And it's so this is what's funny about it was like the whole movie was almost expressionist, right? But
Yeah.
But then we cut to like this from this crazy, you know, weird thing to this outside shot. Suddenly the sound becomes different. So if you listen, so the sound is undistorted here. There's just crickets in the background, and we're like, okay, well this is something that we can connect with. This is something we understand, and so it shows you that there's a weird world taking place inside of our own world, and then that means that it's introducing more context or it's introducing more questions to a greater context of which we never set up in the first place. So it really gets confusing, I think, at the end.
Yeah, so I have a ton of questions
Yeah,
for Mr. Ortega.
yeah. Let's start listing them off.
Yeah, and please do respond in the comments below. Again, you spent a lot of time making this film look beautiful.
Yeah,
And really dig, really the execution throughout is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Great performances as well, and clearly a director with a vision. So kudos and all that. What is the context that we're missing, or
Were we supposed to
were
get
we
it?
supposed to infer it ourselves?
Yeah.
Or neither
right.
of those things?
Right. When you made this film, was it something that was more of a practice? Why did you make the film? Actually, is what I'm getting at. Was it like a practice to do something, or did you enter it in for a contest or whatever? I want to know why. Also, I am actually curious about how you pulled off some of the effects in here, because a lot of it looks organic. Like it looks like you actually used like a VHS tape on a lot of this stuff. So I'd like to know what that was about.
Pretty much what Kenny said. Definitely interested if we're supposed to be picking up on some context and backstory stuff, or if this is supposed to be a mostly inferred kind of piece where we're supposed to fill in the blanks ourselves. And yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, good job, man. Like all the effects and the performances were awesome. Really good.
Thanks for sharing. Hope we can see more of your stuff soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do we got next, D?
Oh, what's up?
Next we have Chroma by
Hurricane Shane.
Hurricane
Shane.
He
does he have an actual name?
Is it Ingrid Bjornevik? Bjornevik? That's probably the actress. Right?
Is his name in here?
Shane Richard.
Shane Richard.
There you
Shane
go.
Richard.
Okay, so we have Chroma by Shane Richard.
Okay.
We've
had Shane's films on here before.
Second time. He's an alum.
Yeah, he is alumni.
He's a
alum,
short film
yeah.
roundup alum. So this is his second time. The last film he did was a short film that we all really liked called Walk in the Park.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy.
Yeah.
And so let's see what Shane has for us now.
go click on the link and come right back. And we're back.
And we're back indeed.
Taylor, tell me a little bit about Chroma.
Chroma is a very, 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 very simple movie with basically the idea. It's almost like a effects experiment. Like there's an idea for, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this color black and white picture frame thing and then go and test it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all there is to it. And it was shot on 16 millimeter film.
It's funny, the monitor we're looking at it right now, it's obviously 16 millimeter. But the monitor we watched it on the first time, it looked almost too crisp to be 16. But
you know what's funny is because this monitor is actually more sharp, but I think the
sharpness shows the softness.
It shows the softness.
Yeah,
it does.
That's really funny.
Yeah, there's not really a lot going on in terms of narrative or story. And I don't think it's really trying to do anything crazy. I think it achieves what it's trying to achieve.
Yep.
It does, yeah. As for an opinion on here, this is actually interesting. So this shot, as we understand now, she comes through, she's in color. Everything else is in color. Then we have the shot where she brings the frame around.
Yeah,
and she's still in black and white.
I thought that was really interesting.
And I was like, wow. Like, I actually thought it was starting to say something. And when she went into the color world, I thought she was still going to be black and white.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool until she's just color.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're not going that deep. Yeah, you're exactly right. It was a effects experiment, and I don't feel like there was a whole lot of anything else going on in here, really.
Yeah. It's almost hard to talk about.
It is, yeah, because there's not really anything to talk about.
I think it's pretty simple. I have no qualms with this movie because it is exactly what it claims to be.
Right.
Right? This is clearly a film that is, I want to see if I can do this effect. Let's go out and do it.
That is what it feels like, yeah.
And play with some 16 millimeter too.
And it may have even been degraded if he had tried to like shoehorn a story into this,
right?
That didn't organically call for the effect. You know what I mean? So I've seen this done before. Sometimes it's done for big budget Hollywood projects where it's like we need a proof of concept for this effect. And so my first question for Shane would be, what prompted you to go do this? Did you need to prove yourself for a job or something like that to show, hey, look, I can do this effect? Were you testing an effect for another project that you were going to do later? What made you want to venture out to what looks clearly to be Northern California Bay Area coastlands to do this? And do you do much shooting on 16 millimeter?
Yeah.
What was the motivation behind that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you guys consider this a short film? You know,
I wouldn't.
It's a good question.
I would call this an experiment.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't call it an experimental film either.
Right,
I'd call it just an experiment.
Yeah, it's more of an effects test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in order for something to have to be labeled as a short film, or for us to consider it, I'd have to say that it needs a point other than what is simply a concept.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard to say that because expressionists.
Right. It's like, how can you be experimental?
Right.
You know.
Yes, but there's a difference between expressionist and experimental. An expressionist is telling a story. They are.
I'd say they're telling.
You're expressing something.
You're expressing
But
your
expressing
emotion.
something doesn't mean it's a story.
Right.
Well,
this is interesting, right? So your short HG, what is it called?
A Minimata ADHG.
ADHG. That's what it was. Minimata ADHG. So that whole short, when you watch it, you understand that there's some sort of connection here between different elements. And even though it is just a series of images, they are somehow related. And that's interesting because you can see there's an overall point to everything.
Yeah.
This is very, very, very on the nose. There is one point, and there is nothing else there. So I think it's just, I think it's the audience trying to get deeper into something, because this is so surface level. There's nothing else underneath it. So you can say, oh, okay.
Shane
that's
is
an
not
experiment.
trying to make you feel something.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
That's
Which is why that whole shot where she was black and white while it was still color was interesting to me, because if the film continued with that, there would be a point. Then there would be something else that's going on that I would have to invest myself further.
Reminded me of Smallville.
Yeah, yeah.
You see Smallville?
Yeah.
Good movie.
Huh. Well, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a
so-
whole lot to
so
say.
Yeah,
Shane,
not too much more to say.
Thanks for sending us You're Not a Short Film. I still enjoyed watching it and talking about it, and
Yeah.
stay.
It was still enjoyable,
Stay
yeah.
a friend of the program.
Yeah, I did like what happened here.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, let's move on then.
And for our third and final submission of the day,
Yeah, we have
directed by a film by Tom.
Stop
Stop it! You're borderline on offensive, man.
Makers.
Sorry.
It's
Okay.
offensive.
Okay,
I'm
so I'm just gonna
offended.
say this then.
My feelings are hurt. We can't
our-
say your last
Tom.
name, Tom.
Our last short is My Liberation by Tom P.
All right.
So the link is in the description. Please watch it and come right back.
Check it out. Come back.
After 73 years, I came back to Holland. I haven't been back since we dropped in 1944.
Are we back yet?
Hello?
Hello? What is that?
It's like a hip hop sound. It's really popular right now. See?
Skirt.
Yep.
Skirt.
Okay.
What'd you think, Kenny?
Devon.
Ah!
Who goes now? Who goes now?
I go now.
Mr.
Cody.
Keys, it's his turn.
Yeah. So this is a
Movie?
this is a movie.
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah. So this is a movie that seems to be a memory of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's looking at the credits, it seems to be a movie that this person did to respect this other guy, to like show other people, check out this guy, look what he did for our country, all that. So it's a very, very serious film, and you can tell from the very beginning, from the voiceover and all that, it's a very serious film.
Yeah, I feel like the filmmaker had sentiment, like strong connection to it. Like
Yeah.
this might
Yeah,
be,
like, yeah,
this
like a
might be
relative.
his father, or
Right.
something.
Right. So going into it, production is super high. There's locations, there's set dressing, there's costumes, there's extras, there's so much going on here.
Live ammunition.
However, when we watched it, the first thing we thought was that kind of felt like a documentary, and just where it was just images with voiceover and more just images, and there's not really any narrative going on here. We compared it to another short film that we watched called Devoid, or you did, and where it was just there's images and there's voiceover, they don't really mix. And in here, we're not telling a story about any one specific person visually. We are through audio, but not visually.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other things that make this feel very distant. So let's talk about some of that distant feeling.
That is interesting. To say distant is kind of what it felt like. I will make a clear distinction between like saying the voiceover is talking, it takes place in this event that we're showing.
Right.
But the voiceover is specific to a person, and we don't get a lot. There's a little bit of that towards the end with like the nurse and all that, but most of the battle sequences stuff has nothing to do with, nothing to do with, but like not specifically showing this one person.
Not specifically, right.
Who we're hearing the voice of.
Right.
And
Yeah.
by showing, and also it adds to the distance that everything's wide. all the stuff.
That's another thing. Yeah, it's funny because in cinematography we also have that kind of thing where the closer the shot is to someone, the more intimate the shot feels. So that's usually why we have extreme close-ups on someone. It's because it's a very strong and emotive thing.
Yeah, and this had like crazy dramatic music throughout.
Yeah.
Like it's super intense, but these wide shots.
And every shot is very wide, and it's very dramatic what's happening.
Yeah, we don't see anyone's face.
No. And
Through the whole movie, you don't even see the old guy's face. You don't see any faces.
yeah, so like,
Faces build empathy, man.
They do.
You gotta show faces.
they really do. And so this whole thing was very confusing when we have wide shot after wide shot that's sure showing action, but we have no idea what side is which.
There were a few shots that were really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was completely disorienting.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell who was on what side, who was shooting at who or why.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell which way was up, which way was north, which way was south. It was just like a collection of battle shots
that conveyed an emotion.
Just there.
Sorry.
And so my big problem was that this highly produced footage, and again, like, wow.
Yeah, very well produced.
Like, holy crap, yeah.
This is a gigantic production, but why? Why did we do it? It doesn't add anything to what we're hearing spoken. That's where I think the biggest weakness of this film is that I think the emotional pull came solely from hearing the story of the guy, which was spoken verbally.
Right.
I think if we had listened to this, it would have the same impact as when we watch it.
Yeah, that's the difference.
It's not, the footage isn't grounded in on that character, and it doesn't add anything. And we're talking about visual storytelling here,
right?
Which means 2/3 of it should be coming through our eyeballs instead of our ears.
Yeah. There is something that came to mind while I was watching this, and it's a different film called I forgot what it was called. Anyway, I'll put it in later. But but this film, it has a lot of crazy editing. It's about a singular place, and we have all these camera angles on different people and different things happening, and there's really cool editing sequences between footage and transitions and everything, and it's all about a place, and it's really cool because there's not one singular character in this whole film. It's just a vibe that you get from it, and it feels like a visual poem almost, and it feels very nice. And when I watched this, the reason why I got that kind of feeling from this one is because everything again was very wide. We're not settling on one person. It feels like a visual poem almost, but it's clearly made to be a narrative kind of thing. It's clearly made to follow this person's experience, and they didn't do that. And I think it would have been better as a visual poem had all this, if we had maybe no music, or if we had very, very dramatic music, something that went all in on this idea that we're showing a feeling or showing it like emotion. And one of the things that also I don't think added to that motion at all is that the sound in here is very minimal. We hear a lot of fireworks.
The gunshots and explosions felt really hollow.
They did.
And to add to that, there was a proximity issue with the narration recording.
Yeah.
Where he just felt like he was sort of like standing sort of like next to me, speaking nasally.
Yeah. Yeah, he did sound pretty far away.
It didn't sound omniscient.
Yeah.
And that's what a narrator who's speaking of something after the fact is an omniscient observer.
Right.
And this sounded like, one, it just wasn't a very good recording, but two, it sounded disconnected instead of connected. Adding again to that whole feeling of
being distant.
Yeah, distance.
It's something we never talk about this, but audio storytelling within movies. When someone is closer to the mic, like you said, they feel omniscient. They feel like they're there for a purpose, for narration.
Yeah.
And it's not by accident when you see documentaries where people who are mic'd during interviews are at a lower level than those of a narrator. They play different roles. and so therefore the audio needs to have different types of mixing. And in that sense, this guy who's telling the story feels like he's kind of an interviewee. He doesn't sound like he's a person who's in charge of everything. Feels like he's talking at the camera.
And I never got a clear sense of who was talking either.
Oh yeah.
Like it felt like it floated between this man speaking himself,
Right.
as a first person, and of course it starts with I and it ends with this was my story.
Right.
But it becomes very impersonal in the middle.
Right.
And
Yeah.
doesn't feel so much like a narration.
Yeah, I wonder if that's actually his voice, because it
No,
sounded
it
like a
says
younger
they had-
guy.
There's a VO guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
listed.
I was going to say it sounds like a younger dude.
But see, go back to that shot of him laying on the hospital bed and the
Yeah.
nurse comes up.
That's like one, like finally.
That's the only time that we see his face.
And the reason why that's very problematic is that when they reveal him, I feel like that's a stranger.
Right.
I feel like, oh,
Yeah.
that's him?
Well, that's the thing is
I've
they-
already been watching for 5 minutes.
What about all
I've-
those
yeah,
other people?
I've already developed my own idea of what this guy must look like, and now you surprise me. Oh, he looks like this. You need to meet your main character,
Yeah.
and start building relationship and some meaning with him
I mean,
early on.
really what could have saved a lot of this. So there's our first catch of his face, basically.
How far? What's run time right now
That's 5 minutes in.
of a 7-minute movie?
And it's a blurry shot and it's shaky.
Yeah.
Like it's part of a montage.
Like we should have gone, when we go to the footage, which is essentially like a flashback, like the first thing we should have seen is this guy's feet hitting the
Right.
ground, pan up his face, the wide-eyed fear and terror as he
Yeah.
rushes into this battle.
Yeah.
That's
know?
literally the opening shot of the Omaha Beach scene in Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
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 It
And
pans
that's
up
who you
and
connect
yeah.
with.
But
Tom
now, and now
Hanks.
you'd
Tom
also
Hanks.
know who to care for.
Yeah.
Right.
And you get an orientation of the battle that's about to, the good guys are going this way, the bad guys are going this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's funny. This is not to, because I realize this is a real story.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah, we
this-
can't change the
yeah.
story. I understand that.
But and this is in no way saying that that's the problem.
Right,
It's just there's a
obviously, yeah, yeah.
dissonance with the visuals. As
Yeah. Yeah. It's very much. Yeah. We're talking about the dissonance. Yeah. You said.
No, I think the main problem here is a problem of intent. What exactly are you trying to do? And if you're trying to take a spoken word narration, someone giving their account of a thing that happened, and then making it an immersive visual experience using footage,
Yeah.
then this is shot completely wrong.
Right.
If this is simply a documentary style film with illustrations, with illustrative footage, then I just think it's slightly edited wrong. But you could do it. I feel like this had some impact and it had some meaning. It just, the footage didn't add to it.
It didn't. Yeah. Yeah. Which is a real shame, because there is a lot of really, really good stuff in here.
Holy crap! Yeah,
Seriously, like
Yeah.
this is like
easily
insane.
the highest production value film we've been sent.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
largest scale,
Largest scope and
with the set dressing
And the
like
first of its
costumes.
genre.
Yeah, the first, like, it's a period piece.
Right.
You know,
right. A period
and
piece.
they
Tons of
was
extras.
very
Explosions.
pretty thorough on their continuity with the period.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
mean, I thought
it looks pretty real.
I thought I caught a wall with some
I mean,
modern
that looks
graffiti
amazing
on it.
right there.
I mean, if he shot this,
Like,
I mean, if
like
that-
people parachuting.
Did you
They
shoot
get people
this?
to parachute?
Yeah. So I was
Got a
like,
giant
is that,
truck?
is
Are
that
you kidding me?
stock that you bought? Did you buy stock of the paratroopers, or did you freaking do that?
I feel like it was bought, but
Because
then these shots
I'm
looks
going
like
to
exactly.
I'm
the same.
going to take off my analytic hat now, right?
looks
Because I think
amazing.
I've given you all the criticism I want to give, and now I'm just going to heap on praise. How did you do this?
Yeah, that's
Like-
like how did you make this?
Now I'm going to allow myself to geek out. Whoa! Usually we do the nice stuff first before we hurt your feelings. This time we went straight for the gut.
That's
but-
the opposite of constructive
Yeah, this
criticism.
parachuting stuff, how'd you pull this all off? The location is in Europe. I saw that in the credits. It looked like it's the actual location of this battle, perhaps.
I mean, if this is an actual location, I feel like it wasn't utilized.
Do you remember that shot?
As much as
I don't know if you can find where it was, but it was from behind a helmet. Helmet's in the foreground and very prominent in the frame.
Yeah. I don't know where that is, but oh, there it is.
Lots of people crossing themselves in this.
Right there.
That's one of them.
Yeah, okay, that was it.
But there's another one.
Keep going.
This editing is
It's so bizarre.
interesting.
So just the orientation of everything. Like, it
Right.
makes it feel like everyone's fighting each other instead of two sides.
Right.
And that may have been how the battle really was, but when you translate that to a screen, it can get extremely confusing if you don't. You can't play fast and loose for that kind of stuff. Says this guy who's never shot a battle scene.
Wow, this is taking a while, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is a long movie, and I don't have a mouse.
Not
There
that one.
was a shot.
No,
Stop! Back up! Play forward. There. Back up.
There.
If I waste my time, this is a complete waste of time, you just edit it out. I thought I saw
There's a kid there.
modern. Yeah, there is a kid
what the
there.
heck?
Little redhead kid. That's kind of creepy. There. I think there's modern graffiti on the wall behind them.
There's another guy there too, wearing a
Behind
blue
this guy
jacket.
right
Yeah, on that whole wall in the background there.
Here, go back a
I
couple
feel like
frames.
I feel like there's modern graffiti.
Yeah, that's gonna be kind of hard. Go back a couple.
Here, I can let me get.
Here, I can do it.
I got it.
Let's dissect this really. Look at you go. All right, there's the kid. I want my mom.
There looks like a director between there too.
That.
I don't know what that
That's
is.
crazy.
I don't know what that is.
Look on the. Look, do you see over there?
This blue guy?
Yeah, that's a guy.
Like a not a period guy.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I think
No,
you're
it's
right.
it's just interesting to.
He's just like walking there.
No, what's really cool is that makes me say, well, this was all done.
Oh, dude,
You know, this was a filmmaking thing.
I
Oh, yeah,
I think I
seriously.
just cracked it.
You cracked what?
I might be totally wrong, but I want to throw this out there. Did you shoot a historical reenactment?
Oh, at a monument.
This looks a lot like a historical reenactment, considering the
Oh.
way the explosions work.
Yeah.
Especially, they look just like the ones I've seen at Civil War reenactments.
That makes a lot more
and
sense.
if you, I mean, then you wouldn't have to pay for paratroopers and the
Right.
whole thing. Like,
Okay,
if
wow.
this was all happening at this site anyway, and
Yeah.
you got permission to go and shoot it, and then everything here makes sense.
That's a beautiful shot, by the way.
I don't want to believe that.
I believe it. I think that's what it was. That would make a lot of sense with how the shots are limit.
Very
That-
limited.
yeah.
He's always on the perimeter.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He's not up in people's faces.
Yeah, because this almost feels like wedding photography, where you're at the edge looking in, and you're not really in there. You know, dude, that's really interesting.
It's blowing my mind a little bit.
Because that makes a lot of sense then with this location. You know,
This is getting very mysterious. Got a lot of questions I want answers to.
Yes. Am I right? That's my next question. Am I right? Did you get permission to shoot a historical reenactment that already had all this very authentic stuff happening? Or did you actually orchestrate all this? Because holy crap.
yeah. And if you did, then
That explosion
Yeah.
right there is the identical exact kind of fake explosion you see at every war reenactment out there. And yes, I've been to a few. Geek card exposed.
that's interesting, man.
I don't know.
There were times when we were watching it where I didn't feel like everyone in the scene was committed.
Yeah,
Where I'm like, those guys aren't actors.
right.
You know?
Yeah, did you
People
s-
who were like, there's gunshots flying and the guy's sort of like walking slowly
Right.
across the frame instead of panicking, running, not even hunching down. which again says to me historical reenactment.
And the lack of faces.
Yeah, because he didn't have image releases. I don't know.
Though at the end it gets really specific with the doctor unit and all
Well,
that.
at the end, yeah.
Yeah, but that could have been shot separately.
I think
Yeah.
it was, yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I can't even like say anything about this movie anymore. Now that I need to
I'm
know.
completely
this
lost.
stuff.
I have no. Please be
Like,
one
is-
of the filmmakers who answers our questions and respond. I really want to hear all about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at that guy in that shirt.
Who is? Yeah, the gray sweatshirt.
Is that a woman?
Is that a woman with a ponytail?
Yeah. Looks like it.
See, that's like someone who said, "I came here to participate. I've got to be in
to
my
volunteer.
seat."
Yeah.
Like that makes no sense whatsoever, right?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
Or maybe it's Battlefield 5. Am I right?
It's Battlefield 5. Oh.
Oh yeah.
Video game jokes.
So clever.
So I guess the obvious question is, was this...
Did this actually take place in 1945?
was this a reenactment?
Was this really shot
That you were on the
in
edge
World
of?
War II? Yeah, was this a reenactment? Or was the whole thing orchestrated?
Who is that kid?
Who's the kid? Who's the girl?
Who's that kid? Who were those two people?
What
the
if,
blue guy?
he did shoot all this and he's like, no guys, I did all of this, and that redhead kid
and there's two people
and
strolling.
the girl with the ponytail are
One person.
specific figures from history.
That would be amazing.
I know.
That guy just walking back there.
Dude. If you did get to shoot a historical reenactment, I'm going to go do that.
Yeah, it's a
It's
clever
actually a
idea.
really good idea.
Yeah. On a budget.
For free production value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like those kids in Super 8.
Dude, the train.
Yeah,
just those
production value.
paratrooper shots.
Yeah.
You could sell those as like that's some high quality stock footage right there, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else?
Thank you very much for submitting this. We had a lot of fun talking about it.
Yeah.
And to us, those are the ones we remember and actually end up caring about the most, are the ones we have fun talking about and arguing over. So
Cool.
thanks. Hope to see more of your work soon.
Absolutely.
Hey, if I have a short film, what can I do with it to get on this show?
First thing,
yeah.
put it in the trash.
Yeah, you
Put
don't.
the trash can on fire.
Yeah.
Make another film.
You know,
Make
short
it- make
films are a
different
waste of time. What are you doing?
However, if you want to, you can give it to us.
We don't believe that, by the way.
There's a
Short
there's a
films are
subreddit.
the pinnacle of cinema.
There is a subreddit that we own called Carmen Line Studios.
We own it.
Reddit/r//
We own
Carmen
it.
Line Studios. We own that subreddit.
Yeah.
r/Carmen
Is
Line
that in
Studios.
the description?
It is in the description. You can click there and go to us and comment and be like, "Hey, what do I do?" And then we'll say some vague instruction, and then
Yeah.
you'll follow
You
that
can-
instruction.
That's sketchy,
You
man.
can have this same white glove treatment for your short film that
You
you,
need to
care
not
so
hold
much
that
about.
Do you guys live stream?
We do live stream
Every Tuesday at
Really?
12
every Tuesday at noon.
Seriously?
You can watch us, watch your movies,
Pacific Standard Time.
and talk to us at the same time.
Yeah, and
If
you
you
can
never
actually leave some feedback
Yeah.
of the films we watch, and we might even talk about it in our episode.
Indeed.
we will.
Did I know that?
And you just never know what kind of shenanigans might take place while we're live streaming.
I have very good control of the mouse today.
Hey, you did it! All right, let's just stay live while we all take shots at the webcam. Thank you, guys.
We also have some things that we may do in the future that have to do with all these short films that you send us.
Some things.
Yes. Some
What are you
things.
referring to?
Well,
An award?
well, there's recognition that we can.
Recognition.
We're
Award.
thinking of awarding some recognition.
Just
Are we
to be
just
vague.
gonna do just be like that? We're gonna do this.
We'll keep
thing
saying
until
that
we-
for months.
We're just
for
gonna
episodes?
hint. Yeah, we're hinting.
until we actually give said recognition.
I want to die. I want to die.
Is it because we make you watch these user submitted short films every week? Is it driving you crazy?
No, I love them.
It's
I
the
really do.
highlight
Yeah.
of my week.
I seriously enjoy
love
it. Yeah.
short film roundup.
Yeah.
As do I.
So much. So please keep sending us your films and talk to us about it. The thing that makes this whole experience so cool is when the filmmakers then follow up and write a big comment explanation answer all our questions on YouTube. And
Yeah.
then we have this weird loop, where
Yeah.
we call for the entries, they send it to us, we watch them with you live and
Yeah.
hear your feedback, and then we record our show, and then the filmmaker gets back to us. And by the end, you learn a lot about storytelling and short filmmaking, and
Yeah,
it
it's
just
a really cool study.
really broadens your perspective on filmmaking. So get
We
involved.
we want to keep this community kind of thing going, and we have a Facebook page
Oh yeah.
called what is it called?
Our Facebook page is just Carmen Line Studios, but our exclusive, cool, secret club is a Facebook group called the Short Film Cooperative.
Short Film Cooperative.
Yeah.
You can join us there for much more in-depth stuff about filmmaking.
Yep, we'll have
In general.
ongoing conversation about making better short films,
Yeah.
helping each other make better films, and really elevating the whole art form.
Yeah. Please do join us there, because the discussions that we can have are pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
So good stuff, man.
Cool. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you.
See you next time.